Breaking news. Sean and Steve's daring mission brings Bo back from the brink in an astonishing and emotional twist that has left fans of Days of Our Lives rejoicing. A miracle has unfolded in Salem's extended family overseas. Bo Brady, the beloved, stubborn, lion-hearted patriarch, has been saved against all odds. Yes, you heard that right. Bo is going to live. Thanks to the courage, love, and unwavering loyalty of his son Sean Brady and his brother-in-law Steve Johnson, Bo has pulled back from death's doorstep. The news is not only heartening, it's historic for those who followed the Brady saga through decades of heartbreak and heroism. 2 weeks of turmoil and triumph from April 28th to May 9th, 2025, Days of Our Lives fans watched with bated breath as a roller coaster of emotion swept across continents. It all began when Hope Brady called her son Sean with devastating news. Bo, who has been comatose in a European hospital for almost 2 years, had taken a dire turn for the worse. A ventilator-associated infection had developed into severe sepsis, and doctors warned that his chances were slim. For Sean, the guilt was unbearable. After all, it was his bullet, fired in a desperate act to protect his mother, that had brought Bo to this critical condition in the first place. But Sean wasn't about to lose his father without a fight. A glimmer of hope, then a wall. Kayla Brady, Bo's sister and an experienced physician, refused to accept the grim prognosis. She had heard whispers about a revolutionary new experimental drug developed by her colleagues in the medical field. The drug had shown promise in treating extreme cases of sepsis just like Bo's. But when Kayla approached Dr. Jeffrey Russell, the guardian of this cutting-edge treatment, her pleas fell on deaf ears. Dr. Russell, bound by protocol and the rigid ethics of medical trials, gave a cold and unyielding no. The drug wasn't approved. The timing wasn't right. The risks were too high. In his clinical eyes, the answer was simple. But to Kayla and to the Bradys, this wasn't a matter of regulations. This was Bo's life. A man, a father, a husband, a brother. A man who had fought for so many others his entire life now needed someone to fight for him. A plan of love and defiance. The denial didn't stop the Bradys. It lit a fire under Sean. And in that moment, the son who once pulled the trigger made a vow to do whatever it took to save the man he wounded. Enter Steve Patch Johnson. Recently returned from Estonia, Steve didn't hesitate when Sean came to him. These two men, both veterans of wild adventures and dangerous missions, were ready to step far outside the lines for a cause that mattered more than legality. They were going to get that drug, no matter the risk, no matter the cost. The plan wasn't perfect. It was desperate, but it was the kind of desperate that only comes from love. With stealth, with smarts, and with hearts full of determination, Sean and Steve launched a mission to infiltrate the lab and retrieve the experimental drug. Not to sell it, not to exploit it, but to save Bo Brady. The rescue. Bo's life hangs in the balance. As Bo's condition declined by the hour, the tension escalated. Kayla, still working at the hospital, kept up the facade of compliance while quietly stalling the European team, giving her family time to act. Then it happened. Steve and Sean emerged from the shadows with the vial in hand, a miracle in liquid form. Without waiting for formal approvals, with the full knowledge that what they were doing could end their careers and lead to legal fallout, they administered the treatment. What followed was nothing short of divine. Within hours, Bo's temperature began to drop. The infection markers in his blood started to stabilize. The ventilator settings could be reduced. The sepsis was being beaten back. The treatment was working. Against all odds, it was working. Kayla wept with relief. Roman fell silent in stunned gratitude. And Sean, his hands still trembling from what he had done, could finally look at his father not as the man he almost lost, but the man he helped save. The town reacts. Hope returns to Salem. Word of Bo's miraculous turnaround traveled like wildfire. Hope, who had barely held herself together while Bo deteriorated, burst into tears when the doctors confirmed that the infection was reversing. She's already planning to fly out to be with Bo as he regains consciousness, to finally speak to him again. After nearly 2 years of silence and sorrow, Salem hasn't had a victory this sweet in a long time. In a town that's weathered kidnappings, betrayals, and catastrophic losses, the news that Bo Brady is not just alive but healing is a wave of light breaking through the storm. What happens next? Bo's journey to full recovery is only just beginning. The trauma, the coma, the damage, all of it will take time to heal. But what matters now is simple and sacred. Bo Brady has been saved. The Bradys have defied the odds. They've reminded us that family means never giving up, no matter what laws you have to break or what lines you have to cross. Steve and Sean may face consequences for their actions, but in the eyes of those who know love, they are heroes. As for Bo, the days ahead will be filled with physical therapy, emotional healing, and heartfelt reunions. Hope and Bo will stand side by side again. Roman will see his brother crack a joke and eat a meal. Kayla will stop fearing the worst and start celebrating the best. Final thoughts: a miracle worth waiting for. In a world where so many stories end in loss, it's not every day we get to celebrate a miracle. But that's exactly what happened here. Bo Brady was dying. Bo Brady is saved. Let that sink in. Bo's heart still beats. His family's prayers were answered. And every days of our lives, fan, whoever hoped, even just a little, that they'd see Bo rise again, your hope was not in vain. Stay tuned. Because now it's not about saying goodbye. It's about welcoming Bo Brady back into the land of the living. And if you know Bo, he won't be taking it easy. He'll be back. Stronger, wiser, and more ready than ever to protect the people he loves. Bo is back. Bo is saved. This is the miracle we've all been waiting for. Next, Days of Our Lives, Week 2 spoilers. Tate's explosive reaction rocks Salem as Johnny shocks Chanel with a painful truth. Salem is about to witness another emotional earthquake, one that threatens to unravel not just one young couple, but two. In a stunning turn of events on Days of Our Lives, Tate Black's temper explodes into violence and all roads lead back to one devastating decision made by Johnny DiMera. A decision that could change the lives of everyone involved, especially Chanel Dupree, Sophia Choi, and the unborn child they all care so deeply about. It was supposed to be a time of hope, a time of new beginnings. But as Week 2 spoilers unravel, what was once a joyful path to parenthood is now spiraling into heartbreak, betrayal, and broken dreams. And in the center of it all stands a young man grappling with the weight of fatherhood. And the young parents whose future just got far more complicated. Let's break down what really happened, what it means, and why Tate Black's shocking outburst could be just the beginning of Salem's next biggest family crisis. The calm before the storm, joy, hope, and the promise of family for Tate Black, Leo Howard, and Sophia Choi, Rachel Boyd. Life had recently taken an unexpected turn, but one filled with promise. As two teenagers unexpectedly expecting, they had made the agonizing decision to place their child for adoption. It wasn't easy. No such decision ever is. But they made it from a place of love, believing that giving their child to a stable, loving couple would offer the best possible future. Enter Chanel Dupree, Raven Bowens, and Johnny DiMera Carson Boatman, the golden couple who seemed to have everything: deep love, strong family support, and now the blessing to become adoptive parents. When the news came that Chanel and Johnny had officially been approved to adopt Tate and Sophia's unborn baby, emotions soared. Tate and Sophia were visibly relieved. Chanel was ecstatic. Even Johnny appeared ready, on the surface at least. For one fleeting moment, everything felt right. The puzzle pieces of two families were beginning to fit together, building towards something beautiful, something lasting. Chanel glowed with anticipation. Sophia's shoulders finally seemed to ease. Tate looked like a young man proud of the decision he and Sophia had made. But beneath that surface, a storm had been quietly brewing. And in Week 2, it finally erupts. Johnny's cold feet. I'm not ready. In one of the most emotionally devastating confessions in recent Salem memory, Johnny DiMera drops a bombshell on his wife. He isn't ready to be a father. Just like that, the fantasy Chanel had built around becoming a mom. Starting a family with the man she loves. Raising a child with shared purpose and joy. Shatters. Johnny doesn't arrive at this decision lightly. He's been brooding for weeks, masking uncertainty with a forced smile. And when he finally confesses the truth to Chanel, it's clear he's terrified. Not just of parenthood, but of losing her. His voice trembles. He fumbles for words. But the message is unmistakable. I can't do this, he tells her. I thought I could, but I'm not ready. To say Chanel is devastated would be an understatement. Her dream of motherhood has been tied so closely to Johnny, his support, his love, his presence. She had pictured co-parenting, watching their child take first steps together, becoming a real family. Now all of it is in jeopardy. Chanel doesn't scream. She doesn't cry. Not yet. Instead, she goes quiet. Too quiet. And that silence speaks volumes. Will Johnny's change of heart drive Chanel away for good? A teenager's rage? Tate Black's reaction: the fallout from Johnny's decision doesn't just affect Chanel. It hits Tate and Sophia like a runaway freight train. For weeks, they battled fear, doubt, and crushing uncertainty to come to the conclusion that Chanel and Johnny were the right people to raise their baby. They believed they had found a safe harbor in the Demera family, a couple strong enough to give their child the life they couldn't yet provide. And now? That future is slipping away. When Tate hears the news that Johnny has backed out, that the adoption is suddenly on shaky ground, he doesn't process it quietly. He snaps. In a moment caught in the Days of Our Lives weekly preview, Tate lashes out physically, punching Johnny in a furious explosion of frustration, betrayal, and raw emotion. It's not just about anger. It's about grief. Tate trusted Johnny with something sacred, and now it feels like that trust has been spit on. Johnny doesn't fight back. He knows he deserves the hit. But the damage, both physical and emotional, is already done. Sophia caught in the middle while Tate is overcome with fury. Sophia Choi is left to pick up the pieces. She's scared. She's heartbroken. And now she has a choice to make, one she never imagined she'd face again. Do she and Tate go through with the adoption anyway, placing their child in the hands of a woman who may now be raising the baby alone? Or do they change course entirely? The possibility of keeping the baby, the very thing they once ruled out, suddenly returns to the table. Sophia, ever the voice of reason, urges Tate to calm down and think. But deep down, she's shaken too. She trusted Johnny and Chanel. She believed they were ready. But Johnny's doubts have made her question everything. What happens now? The fallout from Johnny's confession is just beginning to unfold, and the consequences could be permanent. Will Chanel decide to go through with the adoption alone? Will she and Johnny separate under the pressure of their differing visions for the future? And what of Tate and Sophia, two teenagers who now face a new reality, one where they may have to raise a child with little more than love, fear, and determination? Anything is possible in Salem. Relationships have crumbled and rebuilt on less. But one thing is certain. Johnny's decision will have ripple effects that stretch far beyond his marriage. An innocent child's future now hangs in the balance. And the young man who threw a punch in a moment of rage? Tate Black may have more growing up to do, but his heart is in the right place. He cares about his child. He cares about Sophia. And like any father, he just wants what's best for his baby. Final thoughts. A shattered promise? A new beginning? Days of Our Lives has always excelled at showing us the messy, unpredictable, heartbreaking choices that come with love and family. This story is no different. Johnny Demera's confession may have upended everything. But in Salem, nothing stays broken forever. There is still a chance for redemption, for healing, and for hope. Maybe Chanel will find a new path to motherhood, one that doesn't rely on Johnny. Maybe Tate and Sophia will find the courage to face parenthood head-on. Or maybe, just maybe, Salem will witness a reconciliation that leads to something even stronger. For now, hearts are broken, trust is shaken, and the future is uncertain. But one thing is crystal clear, in the heart of Salem, even in moments of crisis, the love of a child can still bring people together, and sometimes that love is stronger than fear. Stay tuned, because the real story is just beginning.